This is going to be a track system how-to video, how to measure and how to install. We're going to have a couple pro tips in there. Let's get started. So this system, because it's so large, it's going to end up, because it's 3 windows, we're going to have 3 pieces of track that are all going to get seamed together. That's going to save a lot of money on shipping. If you're somebody that we're going to be shipping the tracks to, you're not going to have a 180 some odd inch piece of track to send. So you're going to get 3 pieces of metal track, and you're going to have 4 screens. So we can help you with the math when you send in the order, but just so you know, on this installation, it's going to be 3 screens or 4 screens with 3 tracks. So you're going to give us a total width and a total height measurement. Best to do it with 2 people. You can tape this to the frame or maybe figure out a way on your own, but we're going to utilize 2 people. It's always going to be a lot easier because it's such a long window. So I'm basically putting this all the way to the edge of the frame and then to the edge of that frame. That's our width measurement. So we've already done the width. Now we're just going to do the height. Height measurement is pretty simple. I'm just going to go all the way to the top of the window. So that's where the track is going to sit at the top of the frame, down to the bottom of the window. In this case, my measurement would be 69 1/8. So as you can see, we have all the hardware installed. So for the hardware, depending on how your window system is, we actually had a metal beam up in here. So we had to come out a little bit further than normal. You want to be 1.5 inches off of the frame. We went 1 3/4 because if we stayed at 1.5 inches, we'd be drilling into this metal beam. So 1.5 inches to 1 3/4 is where you're going to want your holes to be. So you're going to want to mark all your holes where these mounts are going to be. So as you can see, in our case, from the metal frame, it's 1 3/4. But 1.5 inches to 1 3/4 is where you're going to mark all your screw holes that are going to have this hardware. As long as you come off this frame, that amount, they'll all line up. If you have a laser level, I'm sure that'll work too, but this system works really, really well. Then as far as the width placement, you're going to come from the middle of the window frames and you're going to have these the same distance from the middle. In our case, it's 3 inches. So from the middle of this is, or from the middle of here, this is 3 inches. From the middle of here, this is 3 inches. That's because we're going to have a seam here. This is where the track systems are going to seam. So this is going to give it the best support to be exactly 3 inches apart. So 1.5 inches to 1 3/4 off the frame, and then 3 inches from the middle of the frame. All right, couple pro tips. You're going to notice that all of these little pieces of hardware are all facing the same direction. So they're all going to be facing the same way. Okay, so they're all faced perfectly. Also, the actual track, this is going to be the front. So you can see the front is going to be this piece here because there's a little bit of a lip. So you can see that little lip, that's where that piece is going to twist, and it's going to twist down and clamp onto there. So make sure that this is your front. The back is squared off. The front has the little lip. Okay? And basically all you're going to do is put the piece up like so. And this little piece here, when you turn it, this will turn and it'll lock in. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. You can see the little latch. It twists into that little lip we were talking about. You put in the next 2 pieces. This is a very easy installation. I wouldn't say it's a hard part, but just the most challenging part is just getting all these screwed in. That took about 15-20 minutes. And now we're putting up the track. Now, for some reason, your track, if this is not sitting smooth, maybe this is down a little lower, this is up a little higher, you can take it back down and you can play with the screws. You can tighten the screw a little bit and it'll raise this up a little bit. We haven't needed to do that, but if you do get to the point where it's a little off, you would just take it back down and you would just tighten the screw just a little bit and it would raise the track up just to where you need it. That would just be the only adjustment that you might need. Very rare. So you don't put in the last track, that way you can slip in the tongue piece. These tongue pieces go in. There's 1 in each track. The Velcro is going to be facing the front. So if you look on this side here, there's no Velcro. This side has the Velcro. Velcro is facing the front, and that way when the screen goes up, the screen can touch the Velcro. So you put all 4 pieces in, 1 to each track. After you do that, then you're going to put up your last track. If you put up the track first, you wouldn't be able to slip these pieces in. Now for the last track. You can see now we have all 4 of the tongue pieces in, the track is in. These will slide nice and easy, and now we're going to put in the screens.